Welcome back to the Loading Up Podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Brother Zay, and today we have here with us Producer J.
I am barely here. I am very under the weather. Right? Yes, I am hanging in there. But no, it's been a rough weekend for me.
Yeah, this weekend has been rough for both of us, huh?
Yeah, you were sick yesterday, right? And then I was sick Saturday and Sunday and today, which is why we're recording a day late. But it's been rough.
It's been rough, but it's okay. We're gonna push right through it for all our listeners. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It's free to do. It supports us here.
Yes, please do that.
All right, so we'll jump right into it because it's been like a week, maybe.
Yeah, last week.
I don't know. Last week.
Yeah, last week we didn't do an episode because you guys were doing the live stream.
Yes.
Which I was so upset that I was missing it because I saw the show afterwards and I was yo, this would have been so cool to do live. And
it was. We had a blast doing it live. Everybody was in the chat. I think we had a concurrent 15 viewers at the time, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but we're still starting up. Yeah, 15 viewers. It was awesome. Everybody was engaging in chat, and we had a really good time.
Yeah,
and I think that sort of elevated the show for us as well.
Yeah, no, I wish I could have been here, but I'm glad you guys have fun. I'm glad somebody won Diablo. I should have popped in just in case so I could try to win it under a different name.
Wow, that's crazy. Oh man, so let's do sort of a recap on the showcase. What was your some of your best moments? Give us one or two best moments, and what do you think you didn't like so much of it? Because I want to talk about it.
Yeah, so I like I said, I saw the show and I thought overall I would say it's like an 8.5 out of 10. It was honestly Microsoft's Xbox's best show in years, since I can remember. And one of the highlights, honestly, was just right off the bat with Fable.
Absolutely.
That threw me it threw me for a loop because I was excited. Don't get me wrong. I knew it was teased in the advertisements beforehand on social media.
Yeah.
But just seeing Playground Games and pop up and be like, oh, it's coming and it's Fable, and just to see it in action and the fact that it was running in game on a Series
gameplay.
X.
People didn't even believe it.
Yeah, that's the crazy part, that people were. I mean, I for one, I was also a bit skeptical. I was like, okay, this is probably pre-rendered. Maybe it's using the engine, but it's not actual gameplay. No, this was actual gameplay.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
People were saying the same
about
thing.
When they were fighting and throwing the fireballs, and even when they were when they were running away, all that was gameplay. And the developers came out and said it.
Yeah, no, and they were saying that that's one of the best compliments that they've ever had, because the fact that you can fool people into thinking that CGI or gameplay was CGI is a feat in itself, because not a lot of engines, let alone developers, can even achieve that. Even Unreal Engine, it's come close. It's come a long way. But even then, you can still tell what's gameplay, what's a CGI thing, whatever. But this one, is this running on Unreal Engine? I'm pretty sure, right?
Honestly don't know what engine they use. I don't know if they're using the Forza Tech engine or not.
Maybe.
Either way, engine is a beast itself. You can see what they do with their Forza series itself. The visuals over there are insane. So to see it translated into the Fable world was absolutely amazing.
Yes, and I'm glad that, at least based on this preview or this trailer, it seems like they're still keeping the humor of Fable that Fable's known for, while also kind of bringing it up to standards, because I felt with the original Fables, it was very cartoony. It felt like it was a Saturday morning cartoon that they turned into a video game. Yeah. Whereas with this one,
definitely feels a little more mature, right?
Yes, it feels a lot more mature, but also keeping what made Fable great at heart, which is the kind of whimsical nature of it. And that's one I really appreciate. But I definitely this blew me away. I'm glad they opened with it because like you start off with a bang, you know.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You
And
should have seen on stream when we were watching and we were like, "Is that Fable? Oh my God, they're starting with
yeah,
Fable." It
yeah,
was
no,
like a big
it was
thing.
great. And of course, you got the detractors who are trying to downplay it and stuff like that, trying to find something to complain about because you know that's all they do. They try to pick and nitpick and all the stuff that they were complaining about the actress for the female
Oh
model that they
yeah,
showed. Even though like if you actually look at who the model is based off of, she's actually a very beautiful woman. And
yeah, but
this is
this
supposed to be like, because I don't know if you've played Fable before, but
I
like
played all of them. Yeah,
yeah, so your character changes their look
yeah,
as
you
you
can
do stuff in the
customize it and
game.
stuff too.
So yeah, so yeah, it was just a great moment for me. And there was a bunch of other stuff that I liked about, like some of the indie games really spoke to. There was one I think it's still wakes the deep or something like that. It's like a survival horror game on on like oil rig or something like that.
Oh
It's made by the
yes,
people who made Amnesia.
yes, yes.
That looks very interesting. Um, Also, I mean, Avowed looked great. I mean, a lot of people seem to be not upset, but very like taken aback by how it looks.
Yeah, they were confused, right?
But I don't, I didn't see anything wrong with it. Like this is Obsidian who we're talking about. Like this, they have their style. Like if you played the Outer Worlds, that's what I was expecting, like that type of look, but in more of a fantasy era. And that's what
Yeah,
I got. So like I don't know what people were expecting. I feel like a lot of people tend to think, oh, it's Obsidian, so they're basically just like a Bethesda type. Like no,
yeah.
they do their own thing. Like that's just because they made New Vegas doesn't mean that they're gonna just copy whatever Bethesda does. Like no, they have their own style. Like and if you look at all the other games, they have Pentiment, and they also have Grounded. They have a unique style. So it's like I don't know what people were expecting with this one, but it did look good, and I can't wait to hear more about that.
Definitely.
There was also Hellblade, obviously. That's I was a little bit disappointed that it's coming next year. I thought for sure this was gonna be like December, at least December,
No,
2023.
I'm actually glad it's coming next year because I'm gonna be too busy with Starfield.
Well, that's true.
That's it. That's just the plain truth. And I
Yeah.
feel um like I have enough with Starfield. I feel like I don't have enough right now because Starfield's not out. You know, me and Brea we're talking about it we're in the Xbox party chat and we're talking about it like I don't really want to play anything right now because I just want to play Starfield.
I mean, you got to play something.
Yeah, I mean, we ended up playing Diablo for like 3 hours, but that it's not like we really wanted to. We really wanted to
You
play
want to
Starfield.
Starfield already,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got the itch, man. I got the
Yeah.
itch, and I need it scratched.
Yeah. So those are the things that I liked.
Yeah.
But there was one thing that I really didn't like, and I don't know if it was intentional or maybe it was just because of the whole format of the show, if it being the showcase and then the developer direct or Starfield direct.
What's that?
It didn't really have one more thing type thing. You know, like I feel like Xbox kind
Oh, I
of got
see.
into a certain format where at the end they announce, "Oh, here's the crazy new thing that we're just gonna tease you with," and that really didn't happen this time. Like it kind of did with the new Xbox Series S with
The Series S with the terabyte.
the 1 terabyte black model, which
Yeah,
is cool, but like if you already own an Xbox, like that really doesn't do anything for you unless you really want more storage for a Series S. And I guess you just trade it in and I don't know, get the new one. But other than that, like
so that's like a personal
yeah, it was just a
yeah,
personal
it's a
thing.
personal
Like,
one.
but
Yeah.
honestly, the Starfield Direct kind of made up for it in a
Oh yeah,
sense
it was
because
great.
yeah, no, that Starfield was amazing. Like everything that I could have wanted to know about this game, and even then, they still said that there's stuff that they're holding back
Mm-hmm.
because they want to reveal it closer to release. But basically, like it gave you every single reason why this game is going to be huge, and I
Absolutely.
honestly don't. I'm with you. I don't see myself playing anything else after it releases, which is kind of, it sucks because I think either like a week or two after the Phantom Liberty comes out for Cyberpunk, which is a whole overhaul of the game pretty much in addition to the DLC. So I was kind of looking forward to getting back into that because I stopped. But people are saying, "Oh, wait for the DLC because it like changes everything and it's going to make things a lot more streamlined or whatever." But it's like it's coming out after Starfield. So it's like I'm not going to have time to play that. Like I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah, my time after September 1st, any game time I have is Starfield time. Don't hit me up for Call of Duty. Don't hit me up. Don't hit me up for Rocket League. No Diablo. That's
no Diablo.
It is strictly Starfield. I am going to be in outer space, warp into different planets, and just having so much fun. I just know.
This game is gonna be huge, and it's gonna be a huge time sink. I'm as much as I'm looking forward to it and I'm excited for it, I'm also dreading it because I feel like I'm never gonna be able to play anything else, and my backlog is just gonna be crying, as it already is. Which I just made progress. I finally beat Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Hey, congratulations.
I know, I feel so proud. But no, I finally finished it. But I was gonna stop. I was gonna be like, you know what, let me just move on. But I looked at the achievements and I'm like, I could do these. So
they're not too hard. Yeah,
they're not too hard. I'm doing them now. I'm doing like the bounties right now because I never really paid attention.
That's a good one. You should definitely do all the bounties.
Yeah, I'm doing them now. I just did like half of them. So
yeah, the bounties are really fun. You'll see. It's really good.
So but I'm just looking for, and a lot of people, I was listening to another podcast that they were talking about how sometimes Starfield doesn't seem like their type because it's like a space thing or whatever, and there's not really a lot of RPGs set in space, which is kind of odd. But they were talking and they were like, if it's anything like Mass Effect, then I will be hooked. And I agreed because Mass Effect, I make no qualms about it. It's my number one like video game franchise of all time. And
understandable.
And if it can even, I mean, granted, this is a different type of RPG because BioWare and Bethesda do different types. But I also like Fallout. Fallout was great. I love Fallout 3, New Vegas. I never beat 4, but I got really deep into it before I stopped. So imagine mixing like Fallout with Mass Effect. Yeah, like that seems like a recipe for like greatness. And I want that so badly, and I can't wait for that to come out. And I'm gonna do that premium edition pre-order thing for Game Pass.
Oh yeah, it's $31.
Yeah, $31. Why not?
Yes, that's amazing. You know, no $70. We already own Game Pass, $31, and we get the 5-day early access, all like the extra DLC stuff. It's perfect. Yeah. And I don't know if I showed you, but I also brought the Starfield controller.
Oh, you did?
I did, and I have it. It's here. It looks amazing. It feels amazing. It has the grips like the Elite controllers.
Yes.
Like that back grip. Oh, it feels so good. But I turned it on, I updated it, and then I turned it right back off, and I placed it on top of my Series X, and I'm like, you're going to stay right there until the game comes out.
That's a good idea. I was thinking about getting that too, but I was just like, I don't need any more controllers. Like, I'm only, if I get another controller, it has to be like super, like, this one comes close, but it's just like, I already got mad controllers. I don't need many more.
You do, go get it.
No.
No. So, all right. So I'll jump into my, what I loved about the showcase was obviously the Fable as well. Being on stream really elevated the showcase for us because when we streamed it, we had that live audience with us, you know, and we're watching it live with everybody, and just seeing brother Matt's face along with my face, we were like, oh my God, it's Fable. Yeah. But the next big thing was because I really enjoyed the whole showcase, except for the few, of course, like they did the flight simulator and the Sea of Thieves, you know, they did their live service stuff. Yeah. I don't really enjoy that for any showcase.
that was like the come down. Like, you ever been to like
Yeah.
a wrestling show? They always have
Yeah.
the bring down the match, like, let the audience cool down a little bit, let them catch their breath, and then you hit them with something great, like big. So
Yeah. The other big thing for me was Star Wars Outlaws. So
yes,
so I saw immediately when I saw Lucas films, I was like, oh,
I
Star
thought I
Wars.
thought this was the Star Wars Mandalorian
You know
game.
what?
Not
I
gonna
thought so
lie,
too. I thought so too.
I was
Me
like,
and brother Matt were
yo,
like, "Is this the Mando game? Oh my god!" But you know what? I'm kind of glad we're getting away from the whole Mando thing. I know I want a Mando game, but this Star Wars Outlaws takes place after 3, before 4, and it's sort of like in the power vacuum, the time where all these
does it? Or I
syndicates.
thought it takes place after 2 and before 3.
No, no, no. It's after 3, before 4. So
No, because
it's like
they showed a clip of Han still stuck in the carbonite or whatever it's called.
really. I didn't
Yeah,
see. I gotta look at it again. I could have
yeah.
sworn it was in between before the Empire officially took over. You know, when there was a power vacuum and they had, um,
Wait,
they
not
still
3. I'm
had
talking about in the original trilogy is what I'm talking about. The
like 4 and 4 and you're talking about Return
it's
of the
after
Jedi.
Han, because I get so confused with the
You get
episodes
confused.
and the freaking names.
I don't think it was Han in there. I don't think.
It's after Empire Strikes Back. I know that.
Well, let's. Well, I'm gonna double check on it. But either way, I just love that they showed this at the Xbox showcase. I was
Yes.
like, I know it's not gonna be exclusive, and it's probably not gonna be on Game Pass, but still, this is a big third party get for to show at a showcase. It was a huge moment because I'm a big Star Wars fan. So between Fable, Outlaw, and Avowed, it was a great showcase. And
Yeah.
then, of course, the Starfield Direct was absolutely amazing. And me and Bray were talking about it because Bray was on the fence about Starfield. She was like, I don't know. And then we saw the showcase together, and it was like, she immediately was like, I'm pre ordering it. Let's get it right now. She was all about it, which was
Yeah.
great because that really elevated a lot of people, really showed people that it's going to be a good game, you know?
Yeah, honestly, like, I think a lot of people underestimated how big Starfield was going to be. This
Yeah.
is Bethesda's first new franchise in 25 years.
Yeah.
Like,
And
a lot of people forget that they didn't start Fallout. They took over Fallout.
yeah.
Fallout was already established before Bethesda took it over. So that's technically not theirs that they created. So when they say 25 years in the making, they meant like this is what they wanted to do with Elder Scrolls, but different in
Yeah.
space, obviously. So this is the
Definitely.
first big game in so long for them that they can create. Like, this is a brand new creation.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
I guess my downside for the showcase honestly was Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga.
really,
And I say that simply because I'm looking forward to the game, but we didn't get to see much of anything. I wanted to see some combat, honestly. I wanted to see more in there instead of just more of the walking simulator sort of thing, you know?
yeah,
I wanted more, and we didn't get that, and that was sort of my disappointment. On
Hellblade. Go ahead.
No, it was just along with like, the games as a service updates and stuff. Like I was like, and then Hellblade came around. I was excited. I was hoping it was gonna be some more combat seeing what they did with the combat because we know they revamped the combat for part 2, but we still didn't get to see it. So for me, that was sort of like a disappointment. Still,
Yeah,
overall, the showcase was, I would say, an 8.7. It was so close to a 9. I think if they would have showed some combat for Hellblade, for me it would have definitely been a 9. Because the
right.
Starfield Direct was obviously a 10 out of 10.
I wanna mention, because I just remembered
What's that?
2 games that they showed off that I think kind of slipped under a lot of people's radar.
Which was?
South of Midnight
Oh yeah, South of Midnight.
by that's by Compulsion, right? Uh
Um, I gotta
yeah,
pull up.
it's by
Yeah,
Compulsion. That art style looks amazing. Like like the claymation type thing. Like,
yeah,
I'm really into that style, and I really dig it, and I hope they can deliver on the gameplay, because we just saw like a cinematic, but it
yeah,
looks,
yeah.
based on the looks, it looks amazing.
Yeah, it was definitely it definitely looked very interesting. Something so different from what we usually see
Yes.
from them. And that's great. I love that.
Yeah, not for nothing. It feels like Xbox tends to do that. Like they tend to have those games like they had Ori, which was
Yes.
that was that was way different from what we were getting at the time. It was like
Yes.
side scroller and very vibrant and all that stuff. They also gave us, although it wasn't exclusive, it was timed exclusive, Cuphead. They helped development with that, and
Oh yeah.
they allowed it to be ported to other consoles and platforms later on, but originally it was just on Xbox. And that was also very unique, being like the old Mickey Mouse style of animation as a game. Like I feel like Xbox tends to try and get those games that are unique in the style that stand out from the rest. And I appreciate that because I do like that style. I do like different looking games because they, like I said, they stand out and it makes it that more appealing. The other game though, Clockwork Revolution, that
Oh
looks
yes.
insane. That gave me
Yes.
so much BioShock vibes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. When it came up, I was like, wait, are we getting a new Bioshock?
Yeah,
But you
and
know what? That's a good thing because it was Bioshock is so good.
yeah, and I'm surprised we haven't even heard about. I know they said they were making another one, but I can't even remember when that was. It's been so long.
Well, speaking of that particular sentence you just said, Matt Booty came out and said that game development is going to take anywhere between 5 to 6 years now for these big AAA games. So people have to start understanding that it's not like we can do a game in 2 years, like during the 360 and the PS3 era.
Yeah.
These big games are big budget. They take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and if people want good quality games from Xbox, they're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. So basically, just be patient with them because all these teams that are under Xbox are working hard and they're out there making games that are gonna take some time.
Yeah, and that's also why Microsoft is trying to build up their portfolio because these games are going to take long to make, so they need to have enough of them where they can have enough output to satiate the fans. That's why they're attempting to get Activision because that can help them fill those gaps where there might be not be enough games to release because they're all in development. So like 6 7 years is becoming the standard. Every game is, you can't just hold on to every game for 6 years. Like you got to stagger them out. Yeah, so going back to Hellblade, um I feel like with Hellblade in particular, that suffers from being shown off too much. Like
Mm,
we saw it as the Series X was announced. We saw
yes.
it again at the Game Awards, like the following year, I think. Then we saw it again at last year's E3 or Xbox conference or whatever. Then we saw it again this year. I feel like we're seeing it way too much, and the fact that all this time we've went without a release date is kind of like, okay, let's get to it. All right, like that's why a lot of people were assuming that it was going to come out later this year because it was one of the first party games that Xbox announced with the Series X. So you
Yeah.
would think that would be the first, even before. Wait, yeah, even before Halo. It got announced before Halo. It got announced before anything that has released so far from the Xbox side. So you would think that eventually it would come out soon, and we don't even know when in 2024 is going to come out. It just said 2024. It could be fall 2024 for all we know.
Yeah.
That I think that's the more disappointing part about Hellblade. Not to say that it's gonna be a bad game because more time doesn't hurt anything. Clearly, as we've seen with Starfield, it was gonna release last year, and it looked okay. I'm not gonna say it looked bad, but it looks so much better now. Like there was like a screenshot comparing one of the
Yes.
towns from the last time it was showed to now, and it's like completely different. It's so more vibrant. It has more people in it, more like stuff to do or stuff in it that makes it feel more like a town than just like a barren wasteland. Um, but yeah, so I'm still excited for Hellblade. I just want to see more, not to see more of it, but to see it in action. Because I feel like what we've seen is kind of been like bits and pieces of an overall story and of what the game is going to be.
Definitely.
But overall, the showcase was great, and I wish I could have been there to see it live.
Yeah, we missed you. We missed you on the Xbox showcase, but that's okay because hopefully in the future we'll do some more live shows,
Absolutely,
and some more streams in general. As we expand the endeavor here at Loading Up. Yeah. So we'll jump into some news.
yes,
Okay, because we got some news. That was just our recaps. Um, so it's been a rough time for the people at Embracer Group.
yes,
Apparently, they ran into a lot of we came up to, remember, I think it was the last podcast we were talking about Embracer, how they were in trouble with the stocks and that deal that they did, and now it seems like they want to sell off as much as possible, but it's definitely going to be at a loss. It's just a lot of stuff going on with Embracer Group.
yeah. It sucks that they seem to be the ones who are kind of like picking up the pieces that a lot of other publishers left behind. Like they were buying up different IPs. They bought up like Saints Row, a lot of the THQ IPs.
Yeah.
They recently bought Tomb Raider and Hitman. So it was they seem like the ones who were trying to take over the leftovers pretty much.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that it costs money, obviously. And I think I mentioned it last time, they were banking on this deal to go through to kind of support whatever they were trying to do going forward. But obviously the deal fell through, so now they're left scrambling, trying to figure out, oh, how we're gonna do this. They're talking about selling off stuff. It sucks because it's never good to have these studios in limbo, because Embracer is pretty big. So having all these studios and all this IP up in limbo, up for grabs, pretty much, is worrying, because you never know who's gonna take it. And I think if they're smart, they'll leverage the IPs because they also own Lord of the Rings. That's another thing that people forget. They bought the license to Lord of the Rings, so hopefully they'll kind of lean on that instead. Because I think did that show ever come out yet, or no? Did it?
The Which Lord one? Of the Rings show? Amazon one? Yeah, I did.
Okay, so they'll probably focus on that and have that become more of like a moneymaker for them. They'll probably maybe not commission, but like push studios to make more movies of the Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. But also take the IPs that they do have and turn them into movies. Like I know Tomb Raider's already been a movie, actually twice. Why not try again? Like I feel like there's other ways to make money, but they have to be careful, because you don't want to have too much out there to the point where it dilutes everything, and you don't want to just put shit out just to get it out and make money, because then that's where the problems come, and that's when it starts feeling like a cash grab, and you don't want that, because it's very clear there's been plenty of examples of cash grabs that fail because you can tell the studio is just trying to make money. So they're just in a really tight spot. Hopefully they can power through.
Well, they're closing. They're calling it a restructuring program. They're definitely going to be closing some studios and canceling some gaming projects. So we'll learn more in the coming weeks of what they're going to actually do and what studios get closed down. But it really sucks because it's like, I think it's like 17,000 people are under Embracer, and that's 17,000 people not knowing if they're gonna have a job.
Yeah,
that's a big deal for developers, for people. These big companies got to stop playing with people's lives and start. It's not just about a profit anymore. You're playing with people's lives ultimately.
Yeah, and I know, like, I'm not trying to say like all certain people are more valuable than others. It's like like you said, all the developers and the studios, like they should know like if they are able to still have a job or not. But this is a very good opportunity for other publishers like Xbox to take back, or not take back, but take some of the developers away from them, the studios.
I see.
Namely Crystal Dynamics, because I feel like they were ripe for the picking, but because of the whole Activision stuff, they kind of had to hold off on it. But as we'll talk about in a little bit, that may be coming to an end, good
very
or not,
soon.
very soon, like within the next week, as
within the
we're talking.
next 2 weeks, if I think, yeah.
So,
oh wow, it's 19th. Maybe the next week. You're right.
That's what I'm saying. By this time next week, we might know the fate of the Activision deal. But
yeah,
I feel
we'll
like
get into it.
It could be like an opportunity for these studios to kind of move over, because there are some good and talented studios there that deserve to live on under another umbrella.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm sorry.
You're good. We'll see more from both Embracer and from ABK.
Yes.
We'll get into the ABK stuff. Right now, we're gonna just get into some deals that Microsoft has got into with a Polish game studios. People Can Fly. So in a regulatory release, the Polish game studio said codename Project Maverick will be fully funded by IP owner Microsoft. Will have a $30 to $50 million budget. So People Can Fly. They did Gears of War Judgment, Bulletstorm, and most recently Outriders, which had some more news onto it added on. So we know that they can develop good games, because Gears of War Judgment and Bulletstorm, they were good games. They weren't great games, but they were good games. Outriders was good, but it had some performance issues and sort of lack of end game content, but it's still a good game.
Yeah, I mean, I played Judgment, and it's very much the lower end of the Gears of War games.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's still a pretty decent game. They also made Bulletstorm, right?
Yes, yeah, Bulletstorm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they made Bulletstorm. That was a great game. That one I enjoyed very much.
Yeah. I mean, being the bottom of a Gears game is still good, because the Gears series is fantastic.
Yeah.
But either way, we'll hear. I hope to hear more of Project Maverick and what they're gonna do. This is just early announcements.
Yeah, we're probably not gonna hear
from. If it's 30 to 50 million, it's probably gonna be like a AA game. So maybe we'll hear something at
maybe like 2 years from now, 2025.
Yeah, 2 years from now, we'll hear something from it. But it's good to see that they're actually doing the deal with People Can Fly solely, because Outriders, Outriders was on Game Pass. They did a third-party deal with Square Enix to get Outriders on Game Pass day one. Now, the whole thing with Square Enix and Microsoft is that the deal was done between the publishers. So Square Enix took all the money and gave People Can Fly damn near nothing. So they still haven't made a profit off of Outriders. And everybody's like, oh, that's because of Game Pass. I've been seeing a lot of stuff online where it's saying, oh, Game Pass, that's the Game Pass effect. But no, that's, the publisher not giving the developer what's owed to them because they set some sort of standard,
Right.
So that's on Square Enix, not on a Game Pass or Microsoft. They made the deal and they got screwed over by Square Enix. And for me, that's just more reason to stop buying Square Enix games.
Yeah, Square Enix keeps dropping the ball, and it's very clear that they don't give a shit. They're just doing what they do to get money, as much money as possible. That's why they sold off their Western studios. That's why they're focusing. It seems like they're only focusing on the like Final Fantasy and I guess now Foam Stars.
Oh God.
And just basically like just the money making tactics is what they're focusing on, because they even then they said they were gonna start implementing their NFTs into games and stuff like that. So it's like they're very, very clear that they don't give a shit about the actual like quality of their work anymore. They just want to make money. That's it.
Yeah, definitely.
It sucks because like these developers are suffering because of it.
It does. I mean, how can you make a game as decent and good as Outriders was and just not make any money on it? That was crazy.
Yeah, no, that still boggles my mind. That how long it's been? It's been like 2 years, right?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, 2 years.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. What are you gonna do? So we get some Starfield news, but this Starfield news is not good news.
Yeah, the only bad thing about
I guess the only bad thing, right? And it has nothing to do with the gameplay itself or anything like that. It has to do with the localization falling short. And it's not about frame rate like everybody's talking about. Everybody's talking about the 30 frames that Todd Howard said it was going to be. No, it's about localization and having more languages added onto the game itself. And this came about because in South Korea there was a one-man protest, but protest nonetheless, where they were outside of their office building protesting the game simply because it wasn't going to be localized in South Korea, and they were upset, rightfully so, because it should be, we should be focusing on getting it out to as many people as possible. And if your main language is not going to be on the game, how are you going to enjoy the game?
Yeah, it's an issue that's been plaguing Microsoft for a long time. A lot of their games are not localized for different markets that they should be localized for.
Yes.
I know Korea is one of them. There's some Middle Eastern countries that
definitely
don't get them. It should be something that they should focus on, because they are the ones who are trying to reach the widest audience possible. With their expansion to PC and through Game Pass and xCloud or whatever.
Exactly. Xbox is aiming to have 2 billion gamers. You can't do that if your localization is not up to par.
Exactly. So they should be looking into this, and if it's not there at launch, at least say that it's gonna be there eventually. Even if it's not, like, I get, especially in Starfield's case, this is a huge game with like thousands and thousands and thousands of hours in dialogue. So it's like it's hard to translate all of that. But you don't have to do audio. You can literally just do subtitles. That's it. That's the bare minimum that you can do. And that's pretty much what these countries are asking for. They're not asking for like dubs for these games. Like, they just want to be able to experience the game in their native language, whether it be through subtitles or whatever the case may be. So
yeah,
I think it's something that hopefully they'll look into soon.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even imagine if, my only language is English right now. So I couldn't even imagine if a game that I wanted wasn't in English at all. I would be heartbroken. Like, if Starfield wasn't in English, I'd be heartbroken. So I understand for people who are in those markets where they didn't get the localization, it sucks. It really does, especially for a game as big as Starfield. Yes, there will be challenges to try and get that localization done, but if you want a sort of generational game like they're making, you're gonna have to have it be localized to a lot more markets than your standard markets that you do.
Right. So, I mean, we'll see, because I think they did address it.
They did.
But Phil Spencer briefly.
Definitely addressed it.
So then we'll see what happens, because this is a big game, and if they're gonna do it for any game, it should be this one.
Definitely, absolutely, definitely, it should definitely be over for Starfield, because like I said, generational game. All right, we'll jump right into some sad news. some sad news here. So the real life dog behind the Red Dead Redemption 2's Kane has died. The Einstein, the dog who provided the motion capture performance for Red Dead Redemption 2's Pooch Kane, has passed away, and this is according to the dog's owner. So Red Dead was released in 2018, and of course, your main camp had a dog named Kane, and they actually got a dog, a real dog, to mocap all the scenes with other people, so that it could feel more real. And it's just sad to learn that after so many years, the dog Einstein, who did the mocap, died.
Yeah, this is one of the sad parts about like game development, and that's also why like these games taking so long to make. Like you don't realize like the behind the scenes stuff like this. Like when they do like have dogs. I think the dog that did mocap for dog meat in Fallout 4, that dog also passed away recently. Maybe like
Yes.
within the last 2 years. But it's like
Yes.
it's always sad because like the dogs don't live that long. So
Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean, it is sad, but his sort of his sense of self, the dog's sense of self, will ever be immortalized in such a great
that's
game
true.
as
That's
Red Dead
true.
Redemption. You know, his legacy is cemented. People didn't
Yes.
know his name probably before today, or even this week than when he passed. But now people know that Einstein was in Red Dead, and although he was a small part of such a big and fantastic game, it will forever be immortalized.
Yes. That's the silver lining in all this.
Yeah, definitely. And we're coming up on our last article, and this is always the the content that keeps on giving with the FTC and the ABK.
It might be running up soon.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, could you imagine
I
no
can't. I
FTC
can't.
in
I can't
Microsoft
think
Blizzard
about.
action? Oh my God,
I can't think about a future without ABK news.
we need it, right? It's sort of like our little ending cherry on the top, right?
Yeah,
So this past week, the FTC asked for a preliminary injunction, and a judge temporarily blocked Microsoft from buying Activision Blizzard.
from
Now,
closing. Yeah,
yeah, from closing everything off. So this is still sort of they still have to go to court and everything. They have to file for their case.
yeah.
I don't think FTC has ever won one of these, that a temporary restraining order on such a big deal.
No, they have a very bad track record when it comes to succeeding in these things.
Yeah, and they
Um,
have literally no case.
yeah,
They have no evidence,
no,
and I
they're
don't think this is gonna work for them the way they want.
no, they're doing this off of principle. So, like when this whole thing happened, this was like right after the meetings from that Microsoft had with the CMA.
Yes,
It was like last week, I think.
yes, it
And
was.
news came out, and it wasn't like official news or anything. Like it was more like
No, it was sort of like a
rumors.
leak and rumors. Yeah.
Yeah, that Microsoft was looking into ways to close over the CMA's block.
Yep.
And I guess the FTC caught wind of this and realized that this is a possibility. And they kind of so basically what I'm granted, I'm not an expert in this. I just follow the certain
You
people on
follow the
Twitter.
experts. Yeah.
Yeah, I follow the experts pretty much. Yeah, so I listen to what they say, not just one. I take multiple, so that way it's like a little bit more clear.
Yeah.
So normally, what the FTC would have done is they would have waited because the termination date for this deal is July 18th, and because the TRO the TRO lasts I think like 2 weeks. So what they would have done is they would have waited out until the mid or the beginning of July, maybe like July 4th or whatever. They would have asked for the TR, or they would have filed the preliminary injunction there, and then they would have gotten the temporary restraining order for it. That would have essentially killed the deal because,
It would
well,
have went over that time.
in their mind, it would have killed the deal
Yeah.
because there's no guarantee that Activision and Microsoft are willing to sign an extension. That could be more like tactical because in the beginning they said they're willing to fight for the deal. But now, as we're getting close to it, Microsoft's kind of like singing a different tune and saying that, oh, it'll kill the deal because we'll have to sign an extension and this and that. They don't have to. They don't know if they'll do it because they essentially would have to go through the whole process over again.
Yeah.
And ask the shareholders to vote if they want to extend, and that could take a few days to a week, and it'll just derail everything. And that's Microsoft doesn't want that, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they could have gotten the extension, but we don't know. It's one of those things that we just have to wait and see on that. But I think Microsoft is just trying to avoid any delays because they really want this deal to go through as quick as possible. So once they found out that they can close over the CMA's block, the FTC found out about this, and they were like, oh shit, we got to do something because we can't wait any longer. Because if they found out a way to close over the block, we're screwed because they can close over us as well.
Yeah.
So the FTC they filed the preliminary injunction, and they got the TRO. So now, basically, they're accelerating everything.
Yes.
What would have
in favor of Microsoft.
In favor of Microsoft, because Microsoft they got what they wanted too. Because normally these processes take months to a year before anything is like settled. They're doing this in like weeks.
Yeah.
So now Microsoft has basically the opportunity to shut this down. If they can get this preliminary injunction blocked or thrown out, then they essentially have clear and what is the term? Clearance, I guess, to close the deal. And that's exactly what they wanted. So Microsoft was trying to get this deal closed. FTC is now trying to block. If they get this preliminary injunction thrown out, which I feel like they will, because the same judge that threw out the other preliminary injunction from the gamer
lawsuit. Yeah, the gamer lawsuit
is now heading this one as well. So they know the facts already. They're very familiar with this case. So that is a point in Microsoft's favor because now they can basically say, what's going on. You know the arguments that the FTC is trying to bring. You know the arguments that every other regulator has already thrown out. So it's like they basically just have to be like, look, you see what we're trying to do. You see what they're trying to do. Come on. And that's pretty much the gist of it. So they scheduled a hearing, I think this Thursday, and it can go into Friday and into Monday and Tuesday. The first one is on I guess the preliminary stuff is on Thursday. Then the actual hearing is on Friday. And it could extend to Monday and Tuesday as well. So it's like 5 days in total. But it could be all decided on Friday. So it's
I thought the court said the hearing on June 22nd.
That was that's for the administrative block.
Oh, okay.
That was the original one that the FTC did.
I see.
It's not the federal one. The federal one is the one that's coming up right now. But the thing is, it really doesn't matter what that administrative hearing is because the federal one is what matters. If the federal one favors Microsoft, then it really doesn't. I guess I don't know if it still goes through the other one because, like I said before, the FTC cannot block this deal. They can only ask the federal government to block it. But if the federal government's already favoring Microsoft, then the FTC can't do anything. So I guess that other court date just goes away. Pretty much.
I mean, I honestly think that this was some sort of back end leak employ from Satya Nadella and Brad Smith at Microsoft. They did these meetings with the CMAs and they sort of let it slip. Hey, we're gonna close over you guys. And of course, we all know that the CMAs and FTCs have been colluding. It's been proven that they've been
allegedly.
They're colluding. I'm gonna say it. They've been colluding. We know that they've been colluding. So it got back to the FTC, so that they reacted. The FTC filed for their preliminary injunction, and they reacted. They took the bait. And now the ball is all in Microsoft's court because they have all the facts ready. They're ready with all their lawyers to sit down in front of any judge and say, "This is the facts. These are all the facts that was put forth by all these regulators across the whole globe." And I feel like this is going to be a big win for Microsoft. I think they just pulled one over both on the CMAs and the FTC, and I think this deal will be closed sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't. So what this means in terms of like the CMA. So the CMA, even though they published their final report, that doesn't mean that they're not able to change it. They can still change it and amend it and even add remedies to it or whatever to satisfy both parties or whatever. If which I mean it's I want to say it's like 80% a lock that Microsoft is gonna win over the FTC this week. If they're able to get this preliminary injunction thrown out, then the CMA pretty much is the only outlier in this case now.
And like, I feel like they'll close over them.
Even I don't think it'll come to that. Honestly, I think what will happen is that the CMA will see this as a huge loss and be like, okay, you know what? They probably thought, they probably thought they had a case if the FTC was still backing with them, and if the FTC is out, then they're pretty much alone. I know there's still New Zealand, and there's another one that still hasn't given clearance yet, but they're not really that important.
No.
So, yeah, pretty much the CMA will be the lone wolf in this case, and I don't think they want that kind of attention because then it really looks bad on them for other businesses to want to do business in the UK. So I think once this is done with the FTC, the CMA will be like, all right, fine. And then they'll concede, they'll do whatever remedies, probably the same remedies as the EU, and it'll be done.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because this past week, the CMAs allowed Amazon to just completely gobble up the Roomba robot maker.
Oh yeah, iRobot.
Yeah, and they were like, everyone was talking about like, well, you let another $1 trillion company just buy whatever they want. Oh, but you will stop Microsoft from getting Activision, and they were trying to make a clear judgments to show that there's definitely a big bias within the CMA.
Yeah, it's crazy about that one too because like they bought the number one company in that market. There's more like vacuum self cleaners or whatever than just the Roomba or whatever.
Yeah.
But Amazon bought the biggest one, and they said that was fine. Like, is that not hurting competition? Like, I feel like that's a clear violation of that, and it just seems like they let it through to try and be like, oh look, you see, we do this type of stuff. Like we're not that bad.
Yeah, exactly. They're not bad. We allowed this to go through.
Exactly.
But that it doesn't make sense for them. It makes more sense to allow them to go through with remedies, just like the EU did. But there was also rumors that the CAT Tribunal can actually overstep the CMAs in general, and and pass it.
That's another aspect too, because the way the CAT Tribunal could step in is if Microsoft can prove that the CMA has been acting irrational. That's the main one. There's other reasons that they could do it too, but that's the main one, is that the CMA is acting irrational. If the FTC is out and the federal government deems the FTC wrong and throws out their preliminary injunction, then the CMA does seem like they're being irrational because they're the only ones now who have blocked the deal. So that's a very clear and cut case. So like I said, I don't even think it'll come to that. I don't think the CAT needs to step in because I think the CMA will just reverse its decision. It'll be a very unprecedented move because this hasn't happened before, or it has happened but not recently enough to be like, oh, okay, it could happen.
I think not on the scale of this.
Yeah,
size.
not on this scale. Yeah, the CMA has only been around for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that could happen that hasn't happened before. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think they'll just change course and allow the deal.
Yeah, and then on the FTC side, you had actual senators come out in support of Microsoft, saying that why are we fighting two American companies from merging while Japanese companies just run rampant buying everything across the globe with nobody stopping them or questioning them. So it's just like,
while I agree with the senators like speaking out like that, it's just lobbying. Like it's very clear that Microsoft paid them. Like I can't even like.
All these companies got somebody under their thumb.
I don't really take those words from the senators with any merit, because they're just saying whatever fills their pockets.
But it's still true.
It is true. Like true. I do agree with the words themselves. I just don't agree with who's saying it.
But yeah, I mean, it still rings true though. The source material is probably getting some cash under the table for sure.
Yeah.
But what he's saying is true. These two American companies want to merge, and even Microsoft came out and said Activision will completely run itself the same way it's being run now.
And it'll be like what Bethesda is. Like Bethesda is completely separate. The only thing is that they focus on cross promotion. Bethesda advertises Xbox, Xbox advertises Bethesda, and obviously some of those games are exclusive going forward. But it'll be the same for Activision. Like Activision will still operate independently, but they'll promote Xbox as their platform because they're owned by Microsoft.
Yes.
Same thing with Bungie. Bungie is owned by Sony, but they do cross promotion, but they can still do whatever they want because they're independent.
Exactly.
They cross promote with PlayStation, but that's it.
Exactly. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. This next week.
Yeah, we'll honestly
get some more information.
Our next episode could be us talking about the decision.
Oh, that sounds so good right now.
Could be. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, we'll just wait and see on what transpires in these courtrooms.
Yeah, can't wait.
And that's it. That's all we got.
That's all we got.
That's all the news.
That's it for us. So yeah, just follow us on our socials, like and subscribe, and tune into our live streams, which I'm going to be doing a lot more over the summer because I'll have a lot more free time and I'll be able to play more games and beat more games.
More
live streams. And yeah, so stay tuned and we'll catch you later.
Peace out.
Peace.